Hey guys, this is Jason. I'm reviewing Send Help, directed by Sam Raimi. It stars Rich McAdams and Dylan O'Brien, and it's Sam Raimi's return to the R-rated horror movie genre. It's about Linda Liddle, played by McAdams, who gets a new boss, played by Dylan O'Brien, who is revealed to be a complete jerk to her because he's her new CEO and doesn't want to give her a promotion to becoming vice president of the company that she works at because she's doing a really good job at her work, but she's not getting any of the credit. But after both of them survive a plane crash, they get stranded on an island where Rachel McAdams has to use her survival skills to try and make sure she stays alive and make sure he stays hydrated because he's got an injured leg, so she has to do all the work for him, but then she later on decides to make his life a living nightmare. In case some of you guys don't know, Sam Raimi is one of my favorite directors of all time. I love his Spider-Man trilogy with Tobey Maguire, and those films in particular, the first two films, are the reason I love watching comic book movies nowadays, and I love to talk about them. So those films are influential to me and to everyone else that love comic book movies as well. He of course also did the Evil Dead trilogy, which I love. I think those films are a lot of fun, and he's also made some really good original films like A Simple Plan, Drag Me to Hell, The Quick and the Dead, Darkman, and you know what? I like Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Is it a great movie? No, it does have some problems, but I actually had a lot of fun with that one. And from watching those films, he's one of those directors that likes to mix both over-the-top and goofy violence and humor and having them blend well with realism, where he uses that to make his films a lot of fun. And the same goes to Send Help. I had a lot of fun with this movie. There is so much about this film that I loved as a fan of Sam Raimi, and there's a lot of things in this film that you would expect to see from a Sam Raimi movie. In particular, the R-rated Sam Raimi films, where they would have a lot of blood and violence, and this movie definitely has a lot of that, which look out for one scene involving a wild boar. Which... oh man, that was brutal. Or moments when you see a character just poke somebody's eye out, or of course the plane scene that we've seen in the trailers, which that one was pretty fun to watch. The music is done by Danny Elfman, who did a lot of the music for a lot of Raimi's films, who by the way does a really good job with the music here. It's shot by Bill Pope, who also shot Army of Darkness and Spider-Man 2, and having cheesy lines of dialogue and literally someone winking at the camera, which that only works if you have Sam Raimi directing it. Now, a lot of the stuff I said would have made this movie sound not that great if you've never watched any of Raimi's films, because if you make this your first film, you're gonna think that this movie is not very good. You might think it's pretty dumb. But if you are a fan of Sam Raimi and you've seen a lot of his films and you understand like his style of filmmaking, then you're gonna have a fun time with this one. And I know that some people might be a little put off by this being a dark comedy and having a lot of the weird and goofy type of stuff that they're not used to seeing in horror movies like this. While I do understand that being an issue, but as someone that loves Sam Raimi and has seen stuff like that in his previous films, it didn't bug me at all. Yes, this movie's very goofy and over the top, but really, that's what makes a Sam Raimi movie a lot of fun to watch. Like, look at his Evil Dead trilogy. Those are very over the top and goofy, and even his Spider-Man trilogy is very over the top. Like, I love those movies, and I think they make the films a lot of fun. Let's talk about Rachel McAdams, who I do think is a talented actress. She can be great in serious dramas like Spotlight or Red Eye, or be hilarious in comedies like Game Night. Like, I do like her in a lot of films. I think she's hilarious in movies like Game Night. But this performance in Send Help, holy crap, she is phenomenal. She steals the spotlight every time she's on screen, and when she's first introduced, you do see her as a sympathetic character where she's trying to do a good job and she's upset that she didn't get promoted to be vice president of the company. So for a while, you do start to feel bad for her, but when you see her stuck with Dylan O'Brien and she's doing all the work and she's being in charge while he's just laying down being injured, she tells them what to do and how to survive, and since she has been learning how to survive on her own in her downtime, she knows how to do all this. And when you see Dylan O'Brien say and do some terrible stuff to Rachel McAdams, it gets you to side with her, where you do root for her for those scenes. But as the film progresses and you see how much time passes with them on the island, you can see that she's slowly losing her mind, where she starts doing some stuff throughout the film that makes you think to yourself, is that a necessary punishment for him? Because she's kind of slowly becoming the bad guy throughout this film, getting you to wonder which side you're supposed to be on, because at the end of the day, you don't really know which side you're on. Where you don't want to side with Dylan O'Brien because you know his character is a jerk, but when Rachel McAdams does some terrible stuff to him, that just kind of makes you feel bad for him a little bit. Speaking of Dylan O'Brien, he does a really good job here as well as playing a horrible boss that just talks down to Rachel McAdams, where every time he comes on screen and talks to her and just says some terrible stuff to make her feel like she's doing a terrible job, you just hate him and you want to see something bad happen to him, and you do definitely see him get what he deserves, but like I said earlier, he gets some parts of his punishment that you don't think are very necessary, where you think that Rachel McAdams might be going too far with trying to torture this guy, and that's the point where you don't realize whose side you're supposed to be on, because both of them are doing terrible things to each other and they look like they want to kill each other. But at the same time, that also makes it very fun, getting you to see who gets to survive and who gets to die in the middle of all of this. I do have one issue with the film, and that is something that happens in the third act. Of course, I'm not going to get into any spoilers, but there's a twist that happens in the third act that didn't really work for me. It made it feel like a different type of story going on, where it's supposed to be a moment where two characters are trying to stay away from one location because that's supposed to be dangerous, but when you learn more about what that location is, it kind of takes away some of the stuff that they were setting up, where it's supposed to be a scene that's supposed to have a character doing some stuff that they weren't doing before, but it kind of cheats because it kind of ruins what they were already setting up. And it didn't really make sense for me when they chose this as the big finale for the film. Guys, at the end of the day, Send Help is another great Sam Raimi film where it has two characters that slowly look like they want to kill each other, where you see both of them slowly go insane. It has a lot of great stuff that we see in other Sam Raimi films, like a lot of crash zooms, a great score from Danny Elfman, great cinematography from Bill Pope, over-the-top blood and gore that's on screen. It has great performances from our main leads, especially from Rachel McAdams. If you love Sam Raimi's previous films, then I strongly recommend seeing Send Help in theaters. I'm gonna give Send Help an A-. So guys, if you have seen Send Help, what do you think about it? Do you think it's one of Sam Raimi's best films, or do you think this is one of his weaker films? Let me know in the comments below. And also let me know this, are you a fan of Sam Raimi's style and filmmaking, or are you not a fan of his style at all? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, if you like this video, then please leave a like and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss a thing, because it helps my channel grow. Hit the notification bell so you know what other videos I'm posting. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.